Hi, good afternoon. My name is Justin Flancbaum. I'm Executive Director at the Lakewood Municipal Utilities Authority, and we welcome the Lakewood School to our offices this afternoon. I was asked to talk about a new metering program that the Authority embarked upon a few years ago. Several years ago, the Authority found a need to replace many of our meters. A lot of our meters were original meters that dated back decades, 20, 30, 40 years ago. And unlike wine, meters get worse with age as opposed to better, kind of like the human body. That as we age, we get slower, and meters are the same way. In researching several different types of metering programs and metering systems, we decided to go with what's called an automated meter reading system, or AMR. An automated meter reading system eliminates the needs for meter readers. So we could use the same staff, but utilize them towards more productive tasks as opposed to going out and reading meters. It eliminates safety concerns both for our staff and also for our customers, so we don't have to have people going onto private property to read meters. It increases our accuracy in our meter reading, and overall it makes for a much more efficient operation. So there are several different types of automated meter reading systems that you could utilize. What we decided to do was to go with what's called a fixed-based metering system. And essentially what that is in layman's terms is that we installed an antenna on top of our water tank that we have here at our main headquarters on New Hampshire Avenue. And the idea is that the meters would transmit data in real time to the antenna that we have here, and then that antenna would then shoot the data directly into our billing system. It would come in at intervals of 4 times a day every 6 hours, and it gives us real-time data of all our customers' usages. The meter that we chose was something that's called the iPro meter. The iPro meter is billed as the smart meter. It's made of completely of composite materials. It's made of plastic. There are no moving parts, and it has a digital display screen that reads by the gallon. So as opposed to the old-time meters, they read by the thousands of gallons. This meter, you can actually see by the gallon how much water you're using. So about 2.5 years ago, we decided that as opposed to replacing all of our meters at once, which the old meters that would not be able to be integrated into the fixed-based antenna system numbered about 6,500. And to kind of get a feel for what the final product would be, we decided to do it in 2 phases. The first phase, we would install about 140 meters, and we scattered those installations all around our service area. So we installed some in the industrial park, some on the southern end of our system, some on the northern end of our system, to see how everything would integrate into our antenna, and to get a feel for the product. So that would be the phase 1, and then the phase 2 would be the major replacement of approximately 6,500 meters system-wide. So we started phase 1. And we did the first few dozen installations. And then one day I got a phone call, a very interesting phone call on a Thursday afternoon from one of the local builders. And he said, "Justin, we have a problem." And I said, "What's the problem? You know, we're here to solve problems." And he said, "Well, you just installed a couple new meters in one of my new developments. And my customers called me and said you have to remove the meters immediately and replace them with the old meters." So I was taken aback, and I said, "Well, you know, why?" And he said, "Well, they have some concerns regarding Shabbos." And I said, "Well, you know, give me these customers' phone numbers. I'm going to call them." And I told them, rest assured that we'll do whatever we can to alleviate their concerns. We'll take out the meters that day. They'll be out plenty of time before Shabbos. But in the meantime, I wanted to talk to the customers to see what their issue was. So I called one of the customers, and what he told me was he noticed that when he flipped the lid on the top of the meter had a digital display. And the digital display was constantly moving. So in other words, as you run water, whether it's in your sink or your shower or flush the toilet, it reads by the gallon. And so I said, "Okay, so what's the issue?" And he said, "I think there's an issue of ksiva." So the issue is that he was concerned that because one can't write on Shabbos, that by turning on the water, and by the meter creating new numbers, there was a real issue of ksiva, of writing on Shabbos. So here I was on a Thursday afternoon, and I said, "Well, Okay, I said, I completely understand, and we removed, there were 2 or 3 meters in that one development, and that was the only area at that time where there was a concern regarding the laws of Shabbos. So we immediately removed those 2 or 3 meters, and I knew right away this was something that I was going to have to address and look into. So what we did was, at the time, we installed these new meters in areas where there were no concern of Shabbos, and we held off on the other areas. And I knew that we would have to find some sort of solution. Just to give you a little bit background, the Municipal Utilities Authority is governed, and the policy and decision making is decided by our Board of Commissioners. Our Board of Commissioners is chaired by Senator Singer, vice chaired by Ray Coles, includes P.G. Waxman, Ann Fish, Mike Cernati, Craig Theobald. These are all people, local people, who have been part of the community for decades and who understand the needs of the various communities in Lakewood. And they directed me to find a solution to this issue. So here we were, and just to give you a little further how this issue became more complicated was that I had extensive discussions with an organization called the New Jersey Environmental Infrastructure Trust. The Infrastructure Trust is an organization in New Jersey that loans money to municipal entities at rates which, just to give you an example, this particular program that we did a metering replacement on was 75% of the money was interest-free for 20 years. 25% of the money was half market rate for 20 years. So we basically locked up a loan from the state, from the Infrastructure Trust, for approximately $2 million, and we were ready to go on the program. And here we were with a situation on our hands that had to be resolved prior to finalizing the deal. So I contacted the meter manufacturer, and I explained the issue to them. So again, the most obvious issue was the issue of CSIVO, the issue that there may have been an issue of writing on Shabbos. And I explained to them that we have to develop some sort of meter that the digital display is never on. Meaning that the digital display should turn on when you flip the lid, but it should turn back off. And if we could do that, it would alleviate the concerns, at least the concerns of writing on Shabbos, because, and they were receptive to the idea. And what I explained to them was this issue arose in Lakewood, New Jersey. They would probably encounter similar issues throughout North America, being that every major metropolitan area in the United States of America and in Canada has a sizable observant Jewish population, and that this issue would probably be a recurring one throughout America, and it would behoove their company to find some sort of solution. In the meantime, I was contacted by Menashe Miller, who was the mayor at the time, who received a phone call from the Star K in Baltimore. Apparently the city of Baltimore was also considering the same type of meter that we were installing here for the entire city of Baltimore. So that amounted to several 100,000 meters as opposed to the 6,500 meters that we were going to install in Lakewood. And the constituents of the mayor of Baltimore contacted him and explained to him that they would have an issue installing these meters in their neighborhoods on Shabbos, being that there was a potential issue of violating Shabbos. So the meter company was aware of this issue, and now it became my warning to them that they would encounter this issue throughout every major metropolitan area. It really became reality to them. So about 9 months later, they developed a prototype, the first one in North America. And what we did was we developed a meter that when you opened up the lid, firstly, the digital display was never on. When you opened up the lid, there's a 2-second delay. After about 2 or 3 seconds, the digital display comes on, so a customer can see what their meter read is, or if we have to go for whatever reason into a customer's house, we can see that the meter's reading. And then when you leave the display open, the numbers automatically turn off after about 30 seconds. And they won't come back on unless you close the lid, and then you have to physically reopen the lid, and again there's the 2-second delay, and then again it's only on for 30 seconds and then shuts off. So we we developed that meter specifically for our purpose to alleviate the concern of at least the ksiva, the writing aspect of the new meter. Throughout this process, or I should say prior to contacting the meter manufacturer, I was in contact with Rabbi Shlomo Gissinger here of Lakewood, and I explained to him what my idea was, and he agreed that if we could accomplish that, that would be something that would be acceptable as far as the issue of ksiva goes. So when we got this first prototype, which was the first of its kind in the world as far as I know, Rabbi Gissinger came here to our headquarters, and we did a sample run on the meter, and lo and behold, it didn't work. The screen it turned on and it never turned off. And not only that, the numbers never turned, and it was a bad prototype. So we had to wait another couple months, and the meter manufacturer gave me what they call a prototype number 2. Rabbi Gissinger came back to our offices, and we tested it, and it worked exactly how we were hoping it would work. Now, the ksiva issue was basically resolved through that. Now, there was still a question of electricity, and the writing issue is easier for me to explain. The electricity issue, I'm not going to pretend like I'm a posek or an expert in this at all, but I can just explain the basics. The meter is constantly registering data. It's basically like a little computer. It never stops registering, and there's always an electronic current running through the meter. The meter works on a magnet. The magnet detects even the slightest flow through the meter. And again, the current's always running through the meter. And that data is stored within the brains of the meter, so to speak, and then ultimately transferred to our antenna, which is then transferred into our billing system. So the electricity issue was something that had to be looked into further. What we did was Rabbi Gissinger was able to contact Rabbi Shlomo Miller, who's the head of the Beis Hara here in Lakewood. And through the help of Rabbi Gissinger and also Menashe Miller, who was able to set up a meeting, a face-to-face meeting with Rabbi Shlomo Miller, myself, Rabbi Gissinger, and we were able to obtain a tshuva from Rabbi Miller regarding the halachos, regarding the laws of electricity as they relate to our meter and our metering system. The meeting occurred between Pesach and Shavuos sometime of this past year, and Rabbi Miller was satisfied that the issues of electricity posed no issues with regards to the laws of Shabbos. And we obtained this tshuva. The tshuva was written from Rabbi Miller to Rabbi Shlomo Gissinger. And just to recap, this was something that took us a long time. Our commissioners here at the MUA were certain that we'd be able to find some sort of resolution to the problem. They were supportive of and encouraged a solution. We were able to find a solution. Now, and that's really what we do here. One of the benefits of having a utilities authority, a local utilities authority as your water and sewer provider, is that we're local. We're here. We can't hide. Again, the Board of Commissioners is ran by local people that understand the needs of all our communities in Lakewood. The employees, the staff of the Utilities Authority are all local people. If there are issues, if customers have issues, they call us, they can come in, we work everything out. And that's really what we did with the meter. We resolved an issue for one of our customer bases, just like we would resolve issues for anybody. And we're proud of what we did, and we hope that Lakewood can appreciate the fact that they have a utilities authority and the fact that we can do things to help our customers and to help our community.